As you may know, Janet Yellen has been under a lot of scrutiny for her decisions in the Biden administration. Many are saying that the administration is intentionally destroying the dollar's reserve currency status. 2 weeks ago, she said that we should be expecting the slow decline of reserve currency status. Now, speaking of status, if you could give me a hit on that thumbs up button so I can make more videos like this, I'd appreciate it. Now, as we speak, the value of our money is decreasing because the entire world is shifting away from the US dollar as the reserve currency. The US dollar became the world's reserve currency after the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944. That's nearly 80 years ago, during which we've enjoyed a certain standard of living that is now being threatened here in the United States. Now, countries around the globe are choosing to de-link and move away from the US currency as the ultimate store of value. This shift primarily stems from a lack of trust and increasing multipolarity in the world. And let me tell you, it's going to have a major impact on every American's life, including me. Now, why is this US dollar losing its value? There are a few key factors contributing to the decline in the value of the US dollar. It's not just about inflation, although that plays a part of it. The first factor I want to discuss is fiscal policy and the government's handling of money and spending. They've been printing billions of dollars for COVID relief, and just a few months ago, they created a special facility to bail out depositors of Silicon Valley banks. Now, take a look at this chart that I found. The money supply, known as M2, skyrocketed in 2022. And the problem is there was no real economic growth or output to support this sudden increase in money supply. This unbalanced fiscal policy can have a negative impact on the value of our currency. The second driver of the weakening dollar is the decreasing demand for it as a global reserve currency. Many countries around the world hold US dollars as part of their foreign exchange reserves as well. It's like a safety net for them. However, over the past 2 decades, the percentage of foreign exchange holdings in the US dollars has been steadily declining. It dropped from around 72 to 73% to 58%, as shown in this chart published by the International Monetary Fund. This decline has accelerated even further recently as more central banks are buying gold instead of holding onto US dollars. Now, think about how the new BRICS currency will affect the US dollar. Right now, there are almost 20 countries that have expressed interest in joining the BRICS bloc, and they are working on creating a new currency. This currency will be different from the dollar because it will be backed by gold, rare earth metals, and other natural resources that the BRICS members have in abundance. The US dollar, on the other hand, is what we call a fiat currency. It's not backed by anything tangible like the gold or resources. Its value relies solely on the trust and confidence people have in the US government. But once this new BRICS currency is introduced, it's safe to say that the demand for the dollar will likely decrease and its decline could be even steeper. Now, those developing nations that the Treasury Secretary Yellen mentioned currently have no alternative to the dollar. However, once this new currency comes into play, they will have several options to choose from. And if that's not enough, Saudi Arabia has already agreed to price oil in the yuan, which means the petrodollar, the arrangement where oil is priced and traded exclusively in dollars, is spiraling down. All of these factors together create a very strong negative impact on the dollar and its future. Now, let me ask you a question. What happens when currency loses its reserve status? It's not a good scenario for the American economy. When the demand for the US dollar slows down even further, foreign investors will start selling their holdings, and this could happen gradually over time. It could take a decade or 2 decades or even less, depending on various factors such as the resolution of conflicts like the war in Ukraine, the lifting of sanctions, and the success of this BRICS alliance. If foreign holders decide to abandon the dollar, its price will decrease because there will be more dollars in circulation and less demand for them. This means that even though you may have $100,000 in your investment account right now, it could end up having the same purchasing power as an account with only $50,000 in it. Now, this is just one aspect of the situation, and as the dollar becomes less attractive and less secure as a store of value, people will start selling off US Treasuries and private equities, which are denominated in dollars. Foreign countries like Japan, the UK, Cayman Islands, China, Canada are major holders of these assets, so they'll likely be among the first to sell. Losing this reserve currency status for the dollar would have some other serious consequences as well. One of them is that the price of imported goods would go up significantly, and this would happen at the same time when our purchasing power is already diminishing. Imagine the impact on everyday items like prescription drugs and other medical necessities. Their prices would skyrocket. Did you know that the United States only produces about 53% of the active pharmaceutical ingredients API that it needs? That means that we have to import a whopping 47% from abroad, and that's just the active ingredients. Mind you, a lot of these manufactured drugs come from India, and the reliance on imports has already caused a nationwide shortage for cancer treatments. Can you imagine the consequences if we had to import half of these APIs required to meet the basic demands for prescription medicine? Prescription medicine prices will skyrocket, and fewer people will be able to afford the necessary medical treatments that they need as well. But it doesn't stop there. The situation affects other aspects of our lives too. Take food prices, for example. When we rely heavily on imports, the prices of essential items like food, gasoline, household goods also go up. Your purchasing power will drop while prices continue to rise, putting a strain on our wallets and making it harder to make ends meet. Now, if you like this video, check this one out right here.